Hey everyone, before I start, I just want to say this: if you believe in stories that make you feel, stories that remind us how delicate and precious love really is, then please take a moment to subscribe to my channel. It truly means more than you can imagine. Alright, let's begin. My name is Emma and this is a story I never thought I would share. It's about how a single, quiet decision made in a moment of weakness can break everything you once called home. I used to have what most people would call a beautiful life. I had a loving husband named Michael, a little daughter who filled our days with laughter, and a home that always smelled like fresh pancakes and coffee in the morning. We weren't wealthy, but we were happy, or at least, that's what I believed. Our house was small and cozy, always cluttered with toys, crayons, and coloring books scattered across the floor. On Sundays, Michael would play his guitar. Our daughter would spin around in her pajamas, dancing without a care in the world. I'd sit there smiling, thinking, this is it. This is happiness. But somewhere between those small, perfect moments, something slowly began to disappear. It didn't happen all at once. There wasn't a huge fight or some sudden tragedy that pulled us apart. It was quieter than that, slower, like the colors fading from an old photograph. Michael started working longer hours. I kept telling myself it was for us, for our future. Yet along the way, our conversations turned into nothing but checklists. Did you pay the bill? What's for dinner? Can you pick her up from school tomorrow? And that was all. Our lives slipped into a routine, predictable, comfortable, but hollow. Every morning looked the same. The alarm would ring, breakfast followed, dropping our daughter off at school, work, dinner, sleep, and then doing it all over again. We lived under the same roof, but it began to feel like we were only existing beside each other, not truly loving anymore. The silence between us grew heavier with each passing day. He would come home exhausted. I'd already be half asleep, and the distance between us just kept growing. It kept stretching. Sometimes I'd look at him, the man I once couldn't go a single day without talking to, and wonder when he slowly became a stranger. That's the cruel thing about distance. It doesn't warn you. It doesn't make noise. It just slips in quietly, one small silence at a time. And then one day, I realized something that shattered me completely. I didn't feel seen anymore. Not by my husband. Not even by myself. I'd stand in front of the mirror and see someone who had forgotten who she used to be. Not Emma, the woman who loved painting on rainy afternoons. Not Emma, who laughed until tears ran down her face. Just a tired woman moving through life on autopilot. I started asking myself questions that frightened me. When was the last time I felt truly alive? When was the last time someone looked at me and actually saw me? Those questions became the beginning of everything that went wrong. One night, my friend Julia called. She said, "Come out with us tonight. Just dinner. You really need this." I almost refused. I already had 100 excuses lined up. But something inside me whispered, go just this once. And so I did. I remember standing in front of the mirror that evening, putting on lipstick for the first time in months. Not for anyone else, just to remind myself that I still existed, that I was still me. When I arrived at the restaurant, it felt strange at first. Laughter filled the air. Music played softly in the background. Waiters hurried past with plates in their hands. It was loud, alive, everything I hadn't felt in so long, and that's when I met him. He wasn't extraordinary, not in the dramatic, movie scene way. He was simply kind, funny, and most of all, he listened. When he looked at me, it felt like he could see straight through the fog I'd been lost in for months. We talked not about anything too deep or personal. Just life, music, dreams. It felt harmless, or at least that's what I told myself. Just a conversation, but deep down, I knew the truth. It was the kind of attention my heart had been starving for. And that night, without fully realizing it, I crossed a line I never should have crossed. It wasn't love. It wasn't even desire. It was emptiness, desperately trying to fill itself with another mistake. When I woke up the next morning, reality crashed into me like a wave I couldn't escape. I remember standing in front of the mirror, the same mirror where I'd applied that lipstick just hours earlier, and not recognizing the woman staring back. She wasn't a victim anymore. She was the cause of everything that was about to break. I wanted to turn back time, to undo it, to erase what I'd done as if it had never happened. But guilt doesn't disappear with daylight. It lingers. It settles in your chest and breathes alongside you, reminding you that no matter what you do next, nothing will ever truly be the same again. When I got home, Michael was in the kitchen making breakfast for our daughter. She was giggling, getting syrup everywhere, and he just smiled at me. The same smile that once made my heart skip. That smile shattered me because he didn't know. He had no idea that the woman standing in front of him wasn't the same person anymore. I wanted to tell him. I wanted to confess, to break down, to beg for forgiveness. But I didn't. I just said, "Good morning," and pretended everything was fine.